Hello everyone. Welcome to the stream. We're getting started rather quickly here. Qualifying is just getting underway as making the most of practice. This field figure seems to be quite close to being right. I'm not sure if we'll get 6 or 7 laps in, but I'm going to say 7 optimistically, but we do need to get out. As the session gets started. But yes, welcome along. This is round 3 of the SROL ELMC series on Le Mans Ultimate. We've had decent seasons so far. As we're into the 3rd day now of me driving this driving the LMP3 car. And yeah, we came ever so close to getting a victory last week at Portimao. So we're going to try and get one today. We had the pace last week. It was a mistake on pit entry. I forgot to practice it beforehand and then I overshot. Picked up a drive-through. And we were close at the end. But we weren't quite able to overcome the drive-through. Got some variable weather for this race, and we were just in the practice session. The rain did arrive. There is a 35% chance of it arriving in the race, so we'll have to see if it does or not. But it is only a drizzle. It is very light. The lightest rain on the game. Try not to lock the tyres up while the tyres are cold. But yeah, so far we've qualified P5 at the first round, which was partly due to not having enough fuel to do sort of the laps we could have done. Not enough laps to get the tyres properly as much up to temperature as we had the time for. And then we got 3rd place. We messed up our final lap last week at Portimao. That cost us starting from 2nd on the grid. As we go on our first flying lap, of course, this is not representative, as the tyre's still way too cold. You have to be careful of track limits around here. Very easy to invalidate a lap. Even in a couple of places you wouldn't expect to. Like on the exit of the 2nd Ravazza onto the start-finish straight. Managed to invalidate, well, technically 2 laps there. As being the final corner, it invalidates not only your current, but your next lap as well. Deep into Aqua Minerale. That's such a tricky braking zone without any ABS. Of course, the Variante Alta chicane. Another one of the places where it's just very difficult. This braking zone for Ravazza 1's quite tricky. Have to brake much harder than sort of I'd normally expect. Yeah, I think we'll only get 4 more laps. So we did technically put 1 lap too many in, but that's alright. Interesting to see where the first flying laps line up. Had to take a lift there, otherwise it was going to understeer off. The most important one, though, is the final lap. Until then, we're just warming the tires up. And setting banker laps, you could say. There's so much time to be found in this opening sector through the Tamburello chicane. Just making sure you use the curbs as much as you're allowed to. It's actually a bit more than I thought you would be able to. A little wide for the apex. 3 Aqua Minerale. A little deep into Variant Delta. We'll get away with it. A little bit surprised that was legal, to be honest. Too late on the brakes into Tosa. Give up a few tenths there. We'll have one more lap. Just the rear end snapped round on us there. Not ideal. But we can carry on for a final lap. Oh, come on! That did not deserve to be invalidated. I'll run the lap anyway. But yeah, that's annoying. Should have used more apex there. Clipping that inside curb wasn't good. Give up a couple attempts again. That was way too scruffy. I mean, that doesn't count anyway. So as long as we don't get bumped from second, I'll not be too annoyed. We'll practice a pit entry. As more and more people finish, it's looking like P2 is more and more secure. Yep, that went well. That's a good pit entry, I mean. Qualification could have been better, but oh well. Yeah, we'll have to see how race pace is. You know, we didn't seem the most competitive in qualifying last week, and we did all right, so we did. Right, this is going to be an 80-minute race. Yeah, I haven't done the fuel calculations yet. I'm going to say 142 on the basis that it... Yeah, let's say 142. 47, 48 laps. Okay. 100 divided by... if I do that... Yeah, but if I do...
Teams and drivers go to the grid for a race start.
Do that. Okay. Oh yeah, that would require a lot. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be a two-stop race. Make sure to put new tires on. Yeah, it's likely going to be a two-stop race. Not unless we really fuel saved a lot. But rain? Okay. I've given myself a number to try and aim for. Okay, I've got two different numbers.
Formation lap has started.
One I think will be possible with a lot of fuel saving. One I think is going to be too much fuel saving. I hear how inconsistent the speed is for this start thing. Like, it's just accelerating, braking, accelerating, braking.
Green flag, green flag.
Here we go for the start then. That was something. Yeah, that was really wild. We're going to have LMP2s now trying to pass us. So just go be easy with them. More cars off at Aqua Minerale. Got a second gap to the car behind, which is nice. Will help with the fuel saving. Leader is getting away. I don't think they're fuel saving at all. They'll only be able to go 20 laps if they don't fuel save. I'm hoping for quite a bit more than that. I'm getting worried with the LMP2s, like, oh, the cars behind are catching up because of the fuel saving. It's like, no, they're not. It's just the P2s that had issues at T1. Yeah, I'm not sure about making the laps I was initially thinking of. For a one stop. Even with rain forecasted. I can't rely on the race to go that much shorter. Too much apex carb. Leader's not really pulling away anymore. Not pulling as much as they were on the first lap, that's for sure. One downside from lifting and coasting is I'm not pushing the tyre. I'm not getting the temperature into as much as maybe some of the cars around us. Yeah, cars behind going quicker. Maybe the leader is fuel saving. With their qualifying pace, I'd expect them to be the quickest car on track if they weren't fuel saving. Got a little bit of a slide through the second Ravazza there. At least the quickest car on track currently is not directly behind us and has 2 cars between us and them. So it's not like they're going to get to our tail and try and pass us. Hopefully going to get stuck in the fight for third, sorry. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting diminishing returns from trying to fuel save anymore. The leaders made a mistake. I've nearly followed them in. I feel like I lost a lot more time than the leader did. I imagine they picked up track limit points, which could be the deciding factor of this race. Someone gets drive-through. You can see the drizzle on the forecast. What we find in practice is that drizzle isn't it's going to take a long time to actually turn the track damp for the track to start degrading in performance. Car got a little unsettled over the second carb there. Technically need to save a little bit more if I really want to take advantage of the fuel saving I'm doing. Another invalid lap for the leader, so they're going to be racking up points. You can see who isn't fuel saving down the field by the purple lap. Still increasing the gap to the cars behind. We're into the 41s. Looks like the leader's also starting to push a little bit more. Fight for P3 is well and truly on. Just see that gap opening up. Over 5 seconds now. Turned in way too early for Aqua Minerale there. Ending up in a little bit of no man's land, unfortunately. Still a long way to go in the race. Still a lot of strategy to play out. There's the drizzle. Yeah, good consistency at the moment. Don't know if the pace is that good. It depends how much fuel saving the leader's doing, but we've no idea. Coming up on some GT3 cars that must have had difficult opening laps. Turned into early again. Again, we're started to slide off that second curb. Oh, and here come the LMP2s as well. Leader's showing us in the garage. Now, either they're having a connection issue and they'll reappear in the lead, or they've had a genuine issue. Which would be a shame. Minutes into the race. Just lifted a bit earlier there to make it easier for the P2. Made sure I could get to the racing line for the braking zone. Can see. Do you have drizzle, but the track's still high grip? That was not an easy place to pass the GT3. Not helped by the fact they were compromised by the P2, so they're much slower than I thought they were going to be. not close enough to pass this BMW yet. A little deep into the corner, but the LMP2 was very close to me. Oh, and they're pitting. Track's gone to damp. There is a little hint of a flat spot on the front left from that. I don't think it's worth pitting yet. I'm surprised the track has gone to damp as quickly as it did. That's awkward. I feel like I've lost a bit of time in this traffic compared to some of the other cars. Go and keep an eye on P7, since they're the first car on wet tyres. See what lap times they're doing. That'll really help us see when the crossover point is. Doesn't seem to be just yet. Of course, they're going to have more fuel on board, but we're lifting and coasting, saving fuel. I don't think they have been so far this race. I don't see why they would start now. Should be able to make it to the end of the race. Uptime isn't looking too dissimilar. I didn't see what actual time popped up, but I've just noticed the gap isn't changing too much. Second place takes to pit lane. Yeah, I feel like it is going to be a wet tyre when we pit. Feel like it's going to be sooner rather than later. Track is starting to drop off in grip. That's horrible, line 3 Aqua Minerale. Can see the drops on the windscreen are getting denser as well. .45.1. I'm gonna go one more lap, but then, yeah, I think we're pitting pretty soon for a set of wets. Yeah, we're pitting end of this lap. Actually, I should have pitted this lap. Or that lap past. Starting to feel like we're on cold tires, fresh out of the pits now. New wet, full fuel. Into the pits. 45-second pit stop. It could be close to coming out in the lead. The car that pitted much earlier, of course, would have had a shorter pit stop because they'd have put less fuel in. You know, so that's probably saved them about 10 seconds. I'm surprised. Are they coming into the pits? Yeah, they're coming in. I was going to be surprised if they stayed another lap. But yeah, our next pit stop will be much shorter than theirs because we're going to need to put a lot less fuel in. And of course, our tires are going to be fresher. Where are they? Ravatsa 1. Ravatsa 2. It's going to be close, actually. Yeah, track's now slightly wet. We were, I'd say, one lap after optimal. And that could be the difference between coming out with the lead of the race and coming out in second here. Especially with that mistake. Yeah, there they go. I'm going to take it easy. I haven't actually done any laps on the wet tire. So I do not know what to expect. But yeah, I should have pitted one lap ago. One lap ago, I might have been still in the lead, but I would have been on their rear bumper rather than nearly 3 seconds back. I've got trying to figure out how much grip there is. But yeah, they're 6 laps into a stint. You know, that's about 30 litres of extra fuel they're gonna have used. I think our behind just had a mistake. Trying to remember what my delta reset button is. It's that button, isn't it? Yeah. I'll clear that. Because since it's wet conditions, there's no point for me comparing my lap times to a dry track. LMP2 having fun. Visibility isn't the best in these cars at the best of times. Let alone when you have a car between you and the apexes you're trying to look for. We're going a little bit quicker than the car in front. Quicker than the cars behind. Hopefully the P2 holds the leader up. So we lost a few attempts behind the P2 leader last lap. Ooh, that's second place in the P2 class that just crashed behind us. Half second quicker than the leader. So we're closing and we do have the pit stop advantage. That was bad braking into Toza. Using about the same fuels we were on the slick tires in the dry. But of course, lap times are a bit slower. We will still have to make a final pit stop. But the longer we can go, the better. Leading P2 has had an incident, had a crash at the Variante Alta. Still half a second quicker, despite the little hold-up we had with the P2 there. Got quite a few P2s coming up behind us. And we're catching a few GT3s. Perfect. Why? Why? That was so unnecessary. I would have flashed my headlights at that move. It's just wasted both of us time for no reason. Yeah, and it's cost them positions. So unnecessary. And now they've all had a big crash. Unfortunately, oh, that's another car spun. Unfortunately, that's cost us a lot more time to the leader. I'm going to lose even more time here behind this GT3. Okay, that was a sketchy situation. Well done, everyone. 3 wide into Aqua Minerale with cars of 3 different classes. In damp conditions. Yeah. Now, interestingly, the rain has stopped. Now, at what point you go back to slick tires? I'm not too sure. You could make it to the end of the race from now. I did a lot less fuel saving there just to make it easier between me and the GT3. Now, there's 2 things to remember. When we pit, we'll be putting on cold tyres that have little grip to begin with. Secondly, 2 of them will be used tyres. Another yellow flag. Another P2 off in the gravel. The LMP2 cars are struggling around here in these conditions, aren't they? Another car across the gravel. Three wide once again. Now, I know I still have the fuel advantage over the current leader. Of at least 30 liters. Might be a bit more if they haven't been fuel saving. I've been fuel saving So it could be 30 and a bit liters, and of course, all depends on how accurate we get the fuel calculation for the remainder of the race. How safe do we play it? Oh, looks like the leaders finally hit some bad traffic. That's cost them some time. It's going to cost us a bit of time too. Hopefully not as bad as what we've been experiencing so far. This looks like a P2 on new slick tyres. With our fuel advantage, I don't feel like I need to be the car that takes the first move. Car got a little nervous on the entry there. That's payback for holding me up earlier. Lost us a little bit of time, but not as much time as we lost going side by side through Aqua Minerale for no reason. Sorry to get in the way of your battle. Please tell me that LMP2 is causing issues for the leader. That would be nice. Oh, we've closed right up. Right, front left tire, I think we go to used. Front right, we take new. Rear right, we take new. We only have 2 new tires remaining. Game says we need 35 liters of fuel. I think I'm going to trust it on the 44 lap calculation. Because the cool tires lose you a lot of time. That's a little bit sketchy. I just wasn't too sure what side they were going to be on. They responded to what side I was going to go on, so it's kind of, you know, I showed my nose to the left, so they went right just as I changed my mind to go right, so yeah, not on them. One car has pitted. I think I would go keep the math simple for myself. 5 litres a lap. And we'll do less fuel saving next stint. That GT3 was so slow through there. We're still on wet tires. Yeah, that was really slow. More and more people are pitting. Leader's gonna pit this lap. I guess we pit next lap. Game says 14 laps remain. So that would be 70 liters. Or it'll be 13 laps. We'll just do the extra lap just to be safe. I don't think it's going to make a difference of whether we take the lead or not. Maybe we don't go just yet. Maybe we go a couple more laps. Just to let the track dry up more. Only problem is we're meeting the cars that are on cool tires and they're holding us up. LMC cars are really struggling. To be honest, there might even be an argument to be made to not change tyres. Because track is still quite slightly wet off the racing line. Like, yeah, the racing line is getting dry. The rest of the track isn't close to being dry. You know, we're still 7 seconds a lap quicker than the car that was in front of us. I'm pitted 2 laps ago now. And look at these wet tires. It's not like, oh, they're struggling. You know, the fact that we went the extra laps, you know, an extra 6 laps compared to them means, you know, our tires are just in better condition than what their tires were. Now that was silly, wasn't it? Another P2 spun. That was not nice. And now that we're in front of all the, or have lapped all the medium runners, you know, when they become faster than us, you know, we can hold them up for a bit. And then maybe just pit and not change tires. We'll come out well ahead of them. Track is still classed as damp. Tires are still fine. Down to 8 laps remaining. Yeah, 150. If this series had tyre warmers, yeah, it'd probably be a different question. Ooh, car had a moment there trying to put the power down. Two laps to go. So we'll need 7 laps of fuel, let's say. Next lap around, we'll be pitting. .5, yeah, like we're only a couple of seconds off the times I would expect from someone on medium tyres at this point of the race. Yeah, the late pit stop just give me... I still think it was 1 lap too late. But just running that little bit extra longer has given me more time to think about what I want to do at this final pit stop. Game says there's 6 laps remaining. We're going to put 7 laps of fuel in. No need to take the pit entry too quickly. Only a 14-second pit stop. See, if we change tyres, we'd still be there. The pit stop would be twice as long for a start. And then as we drive out here, we'd be on cold tyres. Oh, it's in maybe a 46 lap race. Ooh. I don't think anyone was expecting a 46 lap race with the weather. I think it's time to consider dry tyres. I think we're well past that point, game. Tyres feel a little bit better than they did. Yeah, probably because they've cooled down a little bit. I should probably be cooling these wets. That was messy. LMP3 actually has better traction out of the Variante Alta chicane then. Now the medium tyres are finally matching the times we were doing on the wets. Game is right on the edge of how many laps this race will be. I mean, we have over a 40-second gap to the car behind. And yes, I'm still not showing this LMP2 any generosity after their earlier dive bomb. Gotta be careful of the rear tires. They're definitely the limiting factor now. There's a 24-second gap between second and third. I haven't been watching the lap times to know how much of a chance there is. Of a change of position on the podium. flag, so we'll respect that. It was going to be a sketchy-ish move anyway. I'm in no rush. I'll wait to the start-finish line if I have to. Oh, come on, I put the clutch in. Come on. Yeah, I still hate that about this game. Oh god, they're flat spotted so badly. I'm gonna have to be so careful. Nah, I'm definitely on the wrong tire at this point. The question is more of this, was it worth not changing the tire? You know, with the cold tire, time to get the mediums up to temperature and time to change them. I mean, having lost, what, like 20 seconds last lap, yeah, certainly hurts. You know, doesn't make it look as good. Yeah, just gotta be really careful on these rear tires now because the rear tire is certainly the limiting factor on the LMP3 car. It wears quicker, it overheats quicker. And that spin has really hurt them, as you can see by the tire wear. Wet tires aren't meant to be up at 80 degrees. Oh, P3's had a bad lap, 10 seconds off the pace. That gives us a little more comfort. Not that we really need it. Yeah, I can afford a lot of time. Seven seconds a lap to a car that's also on wet tires. Okay, they're not as bad as mine are after that spin, but you know, they're going to be struggling to some extent as well. And their tires are also older than mine by a few laps. You know, so that won't help them. You know, it's the medium tires I'm more worried about. It looks like a fight that was developing for P3 rather than second place. after that, whatever happened to the car that's currently sitting in third. Yeah, the second place was near the second and a half quicker than us. We'll have one more lap. Just realized I think that car there is also on wet tires. Fight's kicking off for third place. They're coming down to Aqua Minerale now. I wanted to move over to take the racing line, but the P2 moved before me. I just think that was close. Too close for comfort. I didn't think that was a dive bomb, more of just them not expecting me as the race leader, in fairness, to be braking and being so cautious into Ackerman Rally. But I've no reason to push. If I push, I'll probably just make a mistake and spin the car around on with these tires that are dying. There's the victory. It's a shame that the pole sitter disconnected, I think, or had some issues. I think it was a disconnection. Shame, but yeah, I mean, that could have been a very interesting race. You know, I don't know how much fuel they were saving. You know, don't know which way on strategy they would have went. You know, would they have gone for the slick tires? Would they have gone for the wets? You know, it certainly would have been closer because we had a minute gap to. If you discount the spin, we had over a minute gap to the first car in medium tires. I guess they also had a 10-second spin, so it'd be a bit under 10 seconds. But, yeah, I think if we pitted one lap sooner on the initial pit stop to change to the wet tires, and then that might have saved us like 5 seconds. Obviously, they might have had to pit a lap earlier in the final pit stop. I don't think that would have made much of a difference. But yeah, I think we were pretty much on the right strategy. Yep, Billy took the win in in P2. Unfortunately, we can't see what tires everyone finished on because when they reset to pits, it puts them back on what they started on. Yeah, a lot of DNFs, especially in the P2 class. Yeah, avoiding the incident on the opening lap. Yeah, that too was that was big. Um, yeah, getting involved in that. Yeah, we definitely have. You know, I'd say Rune have killed our chances of winning the race had the pole sitter not disconnected. With them disconnecting, there might have been a chance again, but it's hard to say. It obviously depends on how much we're affected, you know. If it was just bodywork damage or if we picked up suspension and how bad the suspension damage is, you know, if it hurts the tires or not. Um, yeah, it'd be difficult to know. But yeah, a good race. Um, yeah, it's the annoying thing is with the leader disconnecting, we didn't really get an answer of how much fuel were they saving. Um, you know, we didn't sort of get to see pit stops. Oh, did we jump, you know, gain time on them in the pit stop because we saved fuel, or if, you know, they were fairly equal on us and just that little bit quicker. Yeah, that would have been good to know. Um, but unfortunately, we will not get to find out. But yeah, nice to take the win. Of course, with the pole sitter unfortunately disconnecting, that does put us ahead in the championship. It's not a great way to take the championship lead, I must admit. Um, with how that race was going, I think it was unlikely we were going to win the championship. But yeah, we now take the lead. We'll be leading into the final round. We'll have a bit of a points gap. So even if we do come second, I think we'd still hold on to the win. But yeah, it'd be a mute victory for me because it came down to a disconnect. You know, um, yeah. Oh well, that is going to do it for today's stream. Thank you, Cornelio. Thank you, Sarkard, for popping in for chatting away, and Eddie coming in at the end. Hope you had a good race yourself. Um, at you were racing at Bahrain. Hope it was good for you. Um, I'll be back next Monday where we are continuing our OLMS series in the unrestricted P2 car alongside GT3s. Next week, we are heading to Portimao. Um, so, yeah, I said Monday or last week, we obviously seen quite a few people struggled with Portimao in the LMP2s. So we'll have to see how we fare if we struggle or whether we'll take advantage. And we seem to be a little bit stronger, perhaps, at Portimao last week compared to this week. Maybe that'll be the case on Monday. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Monday, same time, by 8 p.m. UK time. I believe clocks do go forward. Yeah, I think it's forward for the end of the year. I can remember, to be honest. This weekend for the UK. So if you're around the world, not taking, not changing your daylight savings, or have already had your daylight savings, I know some places have, like Australia. It's I don't know if America has yet or not. I've not been keeping up as much. Um, but yes, I'll have that stream posted a little bit later on this week. But yeah, that is going to do it. Thank you all very much for joining in. Hope you enjoyed the racing, the strategy unfold. Yep, could have went either way, and I don't think we made the wrong call. Overall, could have been a little bit better, but we're talking about pitting a lap hour there. Yeah, doesn't, and with difficult decisions to be made, doesn't get much better than that. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you again on Monday, if not maybe next Wednesday for the last round of the of SROL's series, where we will be at Silverstone. Of course, done a couple of races at Silverstone now in the LMP2 car, so it'll be nice to see how it fares in the LMP3 car. Um, yeah, looking forward to that. Hopefully, it'll be a good race. Hopefully, can end on a high note. Um, yeah, I've had good seasons so far. 2 seconds in a first. Hopefully, we can end it off with at least a second, if not a first. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, just hopefully we've a clean race to finish the series off. But yeah, again, thank you all very much for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you next week. But until then, have a good rest of your week. Have a good weekend, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Till then, take care. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.